You can't go half in, half out here. You can't be this team that spends, oh, we spend 210 million. We're the Chicago Cubs. We outspend the NL Central. Okay, fine, but you're not really spending like the rest of the league.
Sahadev Sharma is here, host of Northside Territory. Everything you need to know about the Cubs is there and in The Athletic, where he writes. He hosts Northside along with Patrick Mooney. Give it a check out right now. Pod, YouTube, etc. Let's start with Kyle Tucker. Off to a really good start with the Cubs. No surprise there. How much richer did he get yesterday or the day before with the news that Vladdy Jr. signed for $500 million, no deferrals?
Yeah, I mean he's rich either way, right? He's going to be a very rich man as long as he stays healthy and has the type of season that he's already having and continues has had over the years. I think the question for me that I keep wondering is it's not going to be as many years as guys like Soto and Vlad get, right? Because they're just younger, and he's this all around player that they're not. He's a great defender. He's a great base runner, and he brings. I'm not sure if you could say he brings Juan Soto offense, but if he's a step below that in the Vlad tier, I mean that's a hugely valuable player. So are we talking pushing 40 million a year at 10 years? He probably doesn't get the 14, 15-year deal, right? I think he probably doesn't get the years, but he probably gets a little bit more AAV. I wonder what the market is. He's the clear best player on the market. Who wants him? Who's in on him? I think that's what I'm curious about, because are the Mets going to be aggressive again after just being aggressive for Soto? Do the Dodgers need more talent? I guess you can always get more talent, but if those two teams aren't in on him, then it gets very interesting in my opinion. The Cubs will certainly be in the conversation. I'd be surprised if they're the ones that win out, but that's just I usually take that lane in general with free agency, because the bet is usually like there's so many other teams that he can end up with, right? So it's just safe to say, yeah, he probably doesn't end up back with the Cubs. But you never know. You fall in love with Wrigley. You really enjoy your time. Maybe it's like if you match all offers, he comes back type situation.
Wait. This is the Cubs. The Cubs have ridiculous amounts of cash. They have the third highest, I think, valuation, revenue. And yet they have the 12th. Yeah. Yes, third highest revenue. Thank you. And yet the 12th in payroll.
Yeah.
He is not a free agent. Cubs fans need to bang down the doors as they're coming into Wrigley saying, Kyle Tucker's not a free agent. We do not have to lose him to free agency, because I think I'm on board with you. You lose him to free agency if he gets there. I think that's the history of what happens. They traded away players to get Kyle Tucker. It's okay if you go ahead and extend this man right away. Think about what the Red Sox just did with Garrett Crochet. Think about what the Dodgers did with Mookie Betts. They never let those guys get to free agency. He's not a free agent. To me, Ricketts needs to say, I'm not letting this one get away. I'll give him the money, a little bit less years, but a little bit more AAV, like you just said, than Vladdy got.
I don't disagree. I don't know. He doesn't sound like someone that's like super, that's like desperate to sign an extension, right? He doesn't know Chicago yet. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't enjoy playing for the Cubs. The fans already love him. He's going to get love from them all season long. He's not someone that feeds off of that as much. It doesn't seem. My understanding about who he is, he's a pretty soft-spoken guy, just loves to play baseball. He's just that's what he wants to do. He wants to come to the ballpark, put up numbers, and win. I agree that they should do everything they can to extend him. I think it just gets back to what you're talking about. They're 12th in payroll. It depends what you're looking at. Anywhere from 10th to 14th are different numbers. Different places have different numbers. They're not up there where they should be, right? What you think the Chicago Cubs should be. So the question becomes, okay, you hand out this huge, say they do extend him and they give him, let's just throw out 410, right? 10 years, 400 million. You have 40 million to one player. I think he's worth it, right? In today's game, in today's market, that's how it works. There's so many questions that the Cubs have as well, because if Jed Hoyer is handing out that contract and they don't make the playoffs this year, that's probably on a new team president or GM's docket. Then there's a CBA coming up, that could change financial situations for everyone. We don't know what that's going to look like. I think these are their questions. And ultimately, what is the Cubs payroll going to be? If you're handing out $40 million to one player, you better have something in the 260 range, right? You want to be super aggressive. That's how it kind of works. If you're sitting at 210 like they are currently and you're handing 40 to one player, that really hamstrings how you go supplement around that player. Yes, he's a great player. He does, in this market, he deserves that type of money. But you need a full team around him, and they have to consider how where their payroll is going to be. That's what baseball ops needs to think about. And if they're going to be sitting at 210 every year, that makes things a lot harder.
I went from being extremely optimistic about Kyle Tucker, Cubs, they're going to get their guy, and then you I'm convinced you're right. It's not going to happen. I know you didn't say it, but I'm assuming it's not going to happen. So with that said, this season right now, why would you bring Kyle Tucker in if you didn't have any plans on re-signing him? That's my first question. And then two, what is the direction if you don't? Because you're right, that's a lot of money that you do now save, and you do have pieces and holes. What would be the most important piece that they're eyeing if it's not Kyle Tucker?
Yeah, so the reason you bring him in is because essentially they need to win this year, right? They have to, or it's their jobs. They don't have they're like, I think it's as simple as that, right? And it's been pretty obvious what they've needed. They've needed this huge bat in the middle of their lineup. They haven't been able to develop that player ever since the 2016 team was traded away. The core was traded away in 21. That this is what's needed that they've needed the big bat. They haven't gotten it. Now they have it, and they had to pay up big to get a stud, like a top 5 bat in the league, right? So I think that answers that question. What's the plan afterwards? I think that's what we all kind of wonder, right? Okay, if you sign Kyle Tucker, then you're a big market team, then you're spending big, right? If that's what the front office is doing, then you're spending big. You're spending top let's say 6, 7, right? You're in the upper crust of baseball. Maybe not the Dodgers and Mets, but not far behind. If you're not, then you have to really think about what direction are you going? How do you treat this team? Are you trading away core pieces to kind of build up the roster around so you have more system depth, so you have a better overall team? You have to start thinking in a different manner. You have to start thinking like you don't want them to be the Milwaukee Brewers. You don't want them to be the Cleveland Guardians or the Tampa Bay Rays. But is that the way they have to start thinking? If they're not, yes, they spend more than those teams, but still, you can't go half in, half out here. You can't be this team that spends, we spend $210 million. We're the Chicago Cubs. We outspend the NL Central. Okay, fine, but you're not really spending like the rest of the league. Look at the rest of the NL. Look at how they spend. It's just they have to pick a direction, because this middle ground, it puts them in a weird spot where they have these guys like Dansby Swanson, Jameson Taillon, bigger contracts, Ian Happ, bigger contracts, but they're not spending at where everyone else is spending as far as the big market clubs.
More in a minute, but first, a quick word from our sponsor of this video. FT fam, you gotta check out what Harry's brings to the table. And I hope that if you're listening to this, you check out the video version of this conversation at some point, because that razor, Eric Kratz, looks like it stands out for multiple reasons.
I mean, I'll take the cover off. All these blades, each one of them ridiculously sharp, make for a nice smoothness here and up there.
German engineered blades made in their own factory. They stay sharp longer. Okay, you've got customizable delivery options. Harry stands out for the sharpness, for the pricing, for the variety. And you can get a 5-blade razor, a weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and a travel cover for just $3 at harrys.com/Val. Get the edge on your shave with Harry's. Normally their trial set's $13 right now. You can get it for just $3 at harrys.com/Val. That's our exclusive FT link. harrys.com/Val for a $3 trial set. And now back to the video. Sahadev, over under $500 million net present value for Kyle Tucker if he continues the way he's continuing right now. Well, I know Pup's going with the
Yeah.
over,
Yeah,
but
they have a lot to say. Apparently, sorry about that.
yeah,
They
no,
don't
it's
bark
fine.
this
I mean,
much. They decided to pick this moment.
yeah, you're good. You're good. They're enjoying this back and forth. So Vladdy's deal gave him 35.7 mil per year over 14
Yep.
years. Your colleague Ken Rosenthal said that Kyle is probably going to get himself 40 plus, and if he's 2 years younger than Vladdy, maybe that's 12 years. 12 years at say 42 million is $504 million. So do you buy into something like that in the off season if you have enough teams involved? I mean, I think the Yankees, by
Yeah,
the way, are going to go hard after Kyle Tucker.
Mm.
He's got Yankee
yeah.
written all over him, right? Like
Yeah,
just wants to go
that's
out,
where
play,
I think
win, easy interview. Like doesn't want to talk much with the
right.
media. Just wants, you know what I'm saying? Just going to get a
Yeah,
big contract and play next to Judge for a decade.
I think that makes a lot of sense for them. I think they're the team that makes the most sense. They didn't pay up trade wise to get him, and I know the media and fans called them out for that, and that's I think he makes a ton of sense for the Yankees. Does it get to 500 million? I'm going to say it doesn't, just because the Mets and the Dodgers right now, things change, right? And suddenly one of those teams gets involved, and then we're having a different conversation. But if the Mets and Dodgers aren't involved, I think it could stay under that. Ken is more tapped in than me, so I'll trust Ken. But if we're kind of like I'm guessing it's below. I often am a little low on what the market ends up being, though. The market tends to blow up. We're right before a CBA expiring. Do teams pull back a little bit? I'm curious to see how it all plays out, like, because there's so many little factors going on here that it's going to be really interesting. And the Blue Jays were in kind of desperation mode, right? Like they had to keep Vlad. They were in this mode where if they lose Vlad, like where are they? What's going on with that franchise, right? So I think he'll get close, though. I think he's going to get paid. Like I was talking to someone the other day. Like it's almost like we forgot what it's like to watch a player like this every day. We saw Chris Bryant win an MVP in 2016, but man, he's like every at bat, you're like he's going to grind the pitcher down, and he's going to like he should have had another home run last night. The wind blew it down. He's just this other level of player that the Cubs haven't had in a while. So it reminds me that, oh yeah, they're a good, very good player. There are all-star level players, and then there are superstars, and that's where Kyle Tucker is, and he's going to get a lot of money.
Cubs fans and the Cubs organization need a superstar. In my opinion, that's who this guy is. I just think certain teams need stars. Let's go to a rookie, though. Matt Shaw. Obviously, his slash line isn't great. His walk rate is incredible. Is this team built to allow a rookie to learn in the big leagues while they're trying to make the playoffs? Because you look at teams like last year, Wyatt Langford. You look at guys like that struggled a little bit, didn't come into their own until partway through the season. The Brewers allowed Jackson Chourio to become, quite possibly, second half, an MVP candidate. Obviously, the Cubs are in a different position. Do they have the bandwidth and the patience to be able to allow Matt Shaw to become who they think Matt Shaw is going to be, having him hit fifth in the order on opening day?
Yeah, so Council did admit that was a little aggressive. He thought about it, moved him down in the lineup, take a little pressure off the kid. I do think he kind of has a leash here, and he has the luxury of not having to be the man, right? Like he doesn't need to be this stud. We just talked a lot about Kyle Tucker. Seiya Suzuki's a very good offensive player. Ian Haff's very consistent. Dansby Swanson looks like a different player after core surgery in the offseason. Nico Horner, healthy as well. Like they have these veterans that are consistent presences in the lineup. Michael Busch looks like he's ready to either match last year or maybe even take a little step above. Miguel Amaya looks so much better than he did the first half of last year. So there are all these guys that you can point to and say, okay, here are other players that can carry the team or step up on a given day, you're not the one that has to deliver. Just go out there and play your game, right? And I think he was putting a little bit too much pressure on himself in Japan. He's admitted as much. He wasn't being himself. Now he can just go out there and just try and do what you've always done. He's never failed at the professional level, right? So he knows what success feels like. I think it's so much harder in the big leagues. We all understand that. I think he has the right mentality. I think he has the right skill set. I think he's going to be okay. I'm very, like, I don't want to suggest that he can have a Jackson Chourio like second half, because Jackson Chourio was a top 5 prospect and has always been looked at ever since he kind of popped onto the prospect scene as like a potential MVP candidate. I'm not sure if Matt Shaw's at that level, but I do think he can be like a very good, above average, all-star on occasion type offensive player. And you know what? He does not look like he's a detriment defensively. That's where I had my most questions, and he's not. He's not a mess out there. He makes all the easy plays. He makes difficult plays. He looks pretty good at third base, frankly. And if he can continue to improve there, he's not going to be an issue at all. Really unorthodox stance and everything. And I think the first couple games, fans were freaking out about that, thinking that wouldn't work. I don't think it, we've seen plenty of weird stances or whatever it may be. Whatever works for you works. And I think he's going to be fine. And I do agree. I think he has that kind of leash and leeway. He doesn't have a ton of pressure on him.
Yep, that's true. Hey, great combo with you. Sahadev, we got to jump, but we'll see you on Northside Territory.
Thanks so much. And thanks for listening to my dogs.
Thank you. Yes, they were great. Okay, they'll have their own territory at some point.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.